I sat down and I closed my eyes for 10 days. Instantly my mind chatter started. Why am I doing this? My back hurts. I'm hungry. I wanna f***. Does this even work? Let's just go home. My knees hurt. Who am I really? My nose is itching. Will I be able to make it till day 10? I went to a silent retreat in Belgium, a far-off place where the only thing you will be hearing is a rooster crowing cock-a-doodle-doo and your own mind desperately craving for stimulation. I was really curious to learn what it's like to have your mind without any stimulation for 10 days and to see what's left after this. After I handed my phone over to the staff, they told me the rules. No phone, no eye contact, no talking, no writing, no movement. You're gonna wake up at 4 AM, sit down with your eyes closed for 10 hours per day. And even though I was sober and there were no mushrooms harmed in this process, I was still experiencing changes in my perception. And in this video I'm going to talk about 10 things that I experienced during this 10-day silent retreat. So the moment I sat down on the first day, I had no idea that this would actually be one of the hardest and also most important 10 days of my life. When I sat down and closed my eyes, I felt like my mind was like a flying fish that was most of the time submerged in this ocean of thoughts, and every once in a while it just had this glimpse of the vast space above him and he just jumped out and there was just this clarity, after which I would sink down into thoughts. I could notice that it felt like my mind was almost starving. It was trying to find all different ways of getting dopamine. It was trying to fantasize about food, about friends, about women, about travel. And I noticed that these thoughts were almost addictive to have because there was nothing else there. And after a while I started to observe that my mind chatter became less and less and less. Because my mind started to realize that I was going to sit through the whole experience, not moving, just being determined to do this. So it might as well just be quiet. And this was the moment where strange things started to happen. I noticed that my sensations started to become way more subtle. When I was walking around during the break on the terrain and I heard a very soft crackling, crawling noise, which I've never heard before. It was really subtle and really silent. And I looked over and I saw that there was actually a wasp on the wall trying to eat the bamboo to gather resources for his nest. And this was the first time that I was so in tune with my environment. Another strange thing that happened to me, I looked at this road that was created by ants. There was this really long line of ants crawling around, and when I went back to my meditation and I closed my eyes, I still saw these ants. And I later learned that this is a phenomena very similar to something called the Tetris effect. The Tetris effect was first observed when people started obsessively playing video games, Tetris, and when they wanted to go to bed they would still close their eyes and see Tetris. And my mind was just filling up and trying to find resources to entertain itself during my meditation. And even though the sitting down was often very painful, when I was walking around in the garden, one of the most beautiful moments that I experienced was when my mind was totally calm and the sun was rising and I was almost crying because it was the first time that I could actually just see the pure beauty of the world around me. There were no thoughts in the way cluttering up my mind and distracting me from the things that are right in front of me. One of the tricky pitfalls of meditating is that we tend to attach to certain states of mind and certain sensations, and this brings our mind out of balance. And one of these things that I've experienced was I was sitting down meditating, and after an hour or two I felt no boundary anymore between my body and the room, and I just felt like I was the whole room. And it was a massive hall, so there was just an expanded sense of self, even though I wasn't able to feel the wall or feel the other people, but it just felt like there was no boundary anymore between me and the room. I finally managed to make it to day 10. And the next morning I woke up and we were allowed to talk again, share the experiences and hear the journeys that they personally went through in these 10 days. And one of the side effects that I noticed on the way back in public transport, I think I've fallen in love about 5 times with random women in the train, because my mind was so calm and so silent, and it was able to see all the beauty and wonder in the world because there was no chatter in my mind. Now you might get the impression that it was a fun experience, but I only talked about the highlights. I didn't talk about all the tedious and endless moments of pain in my knees and in my back and my mind. And even though it was really painful, it was also really valuable to get to know my own mind. And I'm still practicing this every day, and it gives me a lot of focus and creativity and peace of mind. So the main takeaway of this experience that I can at least put into words, because there's many things that I won't even be able to communicate through words. In our daily life, our senses are really attuned to very gross and robust sensations, and there's no room for any subtleties. And when you deprive yourself of any stimulation, your mind will be sharpened and you will be able to hear and taste and see way more subtleties, and this brings a lot of joy into your world. I also notice on a daily basis when I practice this that my mind becomes calmer and life feels like it's flowing and it's more effortless. There's no quick fix for this. It takes a lot of time and effort to get into this more subtle state of mind, but the only workaround that I've found is just to get calm and click the subscribe button, because this will bring a lot of peace and clarity to your life. You should also know that this was just my personal story and you shouldn't expect anything similar to this. And when you decide to do this 10-day retreat, it will be a totally different experience. Talking about expectations, if you want to learn more about that, you should check out this video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.